Today we have a little bit of an interview with you as a content circle creator and things you've been able to accomplish. So, really excited to talk to you, but why don't you just start off by introducing yourself, who you are, and where you're from?
For sure. So I am originally from Slovakia, traveled all over. Originally joined Content Circle back in January of 2025. And I was in a position where I was doing some kinds of UGC brand deals. It was more of like PR collaborations. Did not really know how to go about my social media, how to really grow it. And I knew I wanted to leather there. That was like my aim. That's why I basically joined.
Amazing. Love it. So what do you think was like the biggest hurdle that you had to get through from where you started in January to now to kind of get those retainers and make more money through UGC?
Definitely understand the concept of UGC as more of a business, not just a content creation. One of the biggest things for me was getting away from traditional UGC, where you just wait for a shipment and you just have to go through a long process, and kind of tweaking it into AI companies, apps, all of those things. It just goes faster. It has a bigger budget. It makes you get your retainer way easier, basically.
Amazing. You're so right about that. That's the hardest thing I've seen from most creators is they don't understand the business side of things and why things cost different, like why brands are willing to pay and all that stuff, right? So that's amazing. What has been your biggest success so far in Content Circle in terms of maybe it's how many brand deals you've got or how much you've made or how many retainers you've had? Like, what do you think is the best thing you've got?
So honestly, my biggest success so far personally was just this week when I was able to land retainer, but as a strategist, not as a creator this time. So it's kind of a level up for me. But when it comes to actual income, I made it to about 4 to 5K a month, which is to me incredible. That's more than my parents. But at the same time, I had about, I want to say 30 to 35 deals ever since January, which is to me incredible. But what I'm really excited about is kind of going from UGC and learning all of the things I basically got and kind of pushing it towards strategy and management and marketing for bigger brands and kind of getting into the new level of things. So that's like the best thing for me right now.
I love that. And that's exactly what I did. I started as UGC creator with Whoop and some other, other brands when I was a creator being managed by an agency. And then I kind of wanted to learn more of the business side of things as well. So it's really awesome that you're also doing that transition, and something that we've kind of changed with Content Circle is it used to be just solely focused on UGC, but now it's more than that. And, as you've been on all these calls and learned everything, you see that there's so much more. So what do you think would be like an ideal outcome from you, like from starting as a content creator and doing UGC, and then where do you see yourself going with all of this?
Definitely building up my own personal brand offer. That's just something I love doing. Definitely going into coaching myself. That's something I've been aspiring to do for a very long time. I've had a really tough time deciding where I want to take it and what skills I actually want to learn and be better at. That's why I feel like starting with UGC was the best thing for me because it just got me to learn all the foundations. And then I saw, okay, I love strategies. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to close a couple of retainers on that. But at the same time, kind of going into coaching from like the business perspective. So understanding how the business models work. Those are like my biggest goals for now. Obviously still working on my personal brand. Definitely want to hit 10K followers, then more.
Wait, so you've done all this, without having 10K followers. How many followers do you have?
Right now I'm not even at 4K. So that's incredible.
So like 30, 39.
Like my income does not equal my followers whatsoever. So
Yeah.
to me, that's the best thing.
That's actually crazy. You're making 4 to 5K a month with less than 4K followers, essentially.
Exactly.
That's crazy. What do you, and you've been moving all over Europe. Where are you living now?
I'm currently in Paris. I've been moving all over really. I just moved from California and then I went to Slovakia. That's when I joined Content Circle. Then I went to London. Then I went to Greece. And then I got to Paris. And now I live here. It's
Amazing.
almost a month now.
How's it going, by the way?
Absolutely love it. Absolutely amazing. Everything I ever wanted it to be. Luckily, I was working with AI companies this whole time. Cannot imagine having to work with like traditional UGC brands, I had no address for like half a year. Like there's no way I would actually get a shipment anywhere. So just working through my phone, I just had to focus on like the time difference for the US because obviously they're US based.
Amazing. And that's one of my favorite things about it is it doesn't matter where you are in the world. You can do UGC for apps and for software. It's pretty good opportunity to make that 5-10K a month as your first content online skill, you know? So
yeah, that's for sure.
What do you think Content Circle or, you know, our community has helped you most with?
Definitely focusing on personal branding from many different angles. So I knew I wanted to grow as a UGC creator, but then I just was stuck with my own personal brand. I grew my entire social media following on gymnastics and had no idea how to monetize. And I didn't even want to do gymnastics for a longer period of time. I knew it had to be a different skill. So then learning from UGC and kind of getting into coaching, kind of seeing different things, different ways I can go about it. All of those connections that Content Circle basically had, bringing all the coaches and all the different influencers and everyone, just opening up so many new doors for you. It was really like eye-opening in my opinion. It was so cool to see how many ways I can go about it. It's not just UGC as you're an influencer and you're posting. No, you actually get to build an income and a skill and monetize from it and then offer it to other people too.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing you've done that with English not being your first language. I mean, that's crazy. Like that's actually a crazy thing to think about. Congrats so far on that success. And now that you're focused, like where do you think your focus is now? Is it more personal brand and getting bigger deals, or is it kind of going into like running your own business with the UGC skill?
I've been actually thinking about this a lot in the last couple of days. So I definitely think the brand deals that I'm in as a content creator and a UGC creator are going to be about 20% of my focus. Then 30 to like 40% is going to be me just bring strategies for businesses and AI companies, really trying to close even higher retainers. And then anywhere from like 40 to 50 is going to be trying to go into my own personal brand and building my own coaching business, maybe something one-on-ones, anything on that sort, figuring it out as I go.
Amazing. I love that. Yeah. How much time are you putting in every week to content so far?
Honestly, so much, but that's just because I love it. Yeah. Obviously, I'm in Paris, different time zone. So I just used to work from like 9 a.m. to like 1 p.m. Then I just have a big break because the US is still asleep. And then I start to work around like 6. I would say that's when I really like post my content. That's when the US wakes up. That's when brands start messaging me. And that's when I update them. And I go to like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. But that's just because I love to do it. I know a lot of people just go for like 2 hours a day. I'm just really like, I want to watch videos. I want to learn more. I'm also doing YouTube right now. So that just takes so much time for me.
Amazing. I love it. Would you recommend Content Circle to people or like,
yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. No, I was actually considering a bunch of different things. I knew I wanted to have a mentor. I knew I wanted to have someone to talk to who would actually inspire me, understand me. And I was considering either Content Circle or there were 2 other groups. Both of those groups were mainly TikTok focused. And it was me being in Europe. I didn't even have access to TikTok shop. So that was not an option. And then I saw your Instagram. Absolutely love what you did. And I wanted to do the same thing, honestly. I knew I wasn't a salesperson. I tried that in the past. But content was always the thing that I really loved doing. Maybe that's why I'm even just doing it now so many hours every single day, because I just enjoy doing it.
Totally get it. I think the best thing about like Content Circle is it's for people that want to do content as a career, and then it's kind of like teaching them the skills to do that, and then also making sure that they can explore those different opportunities, whether that's through one-on-one calls or we have like influencers that come on they can speak to in different niches, like people that run coaching businesses or people that are just massive creators, or like I gave that speech in Consumer Club to 300 plus app founders or something like that. So because we all have different talents, and liking content and loving content is kind of a step in the right direction, but then there's so many other directions you can go once you're in. You could just be a creative strategist, you could become an app founder. You could just stay a UGC creator, you could become an influencer, you could run your own offer. There's so many different ways to go, So do you think the one-on-ones were helpful, or what do you think, what made you see the most growth?
I definitely think the group calls were really, really good for me at the beginning, because I just wanted to get a retainer as soon as possible. I was on all the group calls possible, and I was just really inspired by other people. I would just go and follow their accounts. I would see what they're doing. I would see the ways they go about their content. So that's what really got me into retainers. That's what made it a full-time income. Obviously, one-on-ones were life-saving to me, because every single time I had so many questions. I had so many notes written down. Every single time I was just chaos. But then we got on the call and we talked through the whole thing, and I knew exactly where I was going to go for the next week or two with my content, with my offer, with my pitching to all the brands, basically everything when you think about it. So definitely both. At the beginning, it would definitely be the group calls.
Amazing. I love that. I love the group calls. I mean, seeing you guys every week on Mondays and Fridays and now Wednesdays is just amazing. It's one of my favorite parts, because I feel like Content Circle has a very high quality person in there. I try to make it exclusive and not just let anyone in, which I think is different than a lot of groups. And so I think you guys have built good relationships, like you, Joe, Dakota, Remy, all these guys that go to those calls all the time. I think it's awesome to watch. So is there anything else that you would like to leave off on?
I definitely think that Content Circle within itself has made me a different person in a way. I was just talking to my parents like 2 days ago. Obviously, Slovakian family, very traditional. For me to drop out to do content, ridiculous. They were trying to get me to get a 9-to-5 in Paris, to get a part-time job in Paris while I'm here, just in case. Yesterday, they say, Leia, actually, we're so glad you did not listen. You make more money with your little videos than we do. Like, do your thing. It's incredible. We don't even get what you're doing. And you're basically killing it, which is like a big success. Come from my parents? Like, no way. So I definitely feel like I am a completely different person when it comes to business and thinking about different ways to go about it. There's just so many opportunities. Sometimes you don't even know which way you want to go, but it's kind of just like figuring out what you really love doing. And that way it's just going to be way easier for you. But definitely the mindset, definitely confidence too in front of the camera. Kind of learning a lot about yourself too, knowing how to prioritize things and where you want to put your energy when it comes to content and like meeting people and all of it. But out of all of the things, I definitely think UGC and kind of building my personal brand on Instagram and YouTube has been my absolute favorite.
That's awesome. I totally agree with you. I think UGC was my first step in entrepreneurship. It's like, okay, I have clients now. I'm making money from this. I'm controlling my own hours. It's all of those things. And right now there are a lot of opportunities and, different ways you can go. So, and it'll continue to change and evolve. Technology changes and you just kind of have to be flexible. But as long as you're willing to do that and you love it like you do, then, it's a very good path to be successful, in my opinion, So it's been fun to watch you grow and change because when you joined, you're like, what's, how do I do this? And you already obviously had some content success, but now you're much more getting into the business side of things. So it's been cool to watch that transition. And then also like the group loves you, people love working with you and brands love you and stuff. So it's been great. It's been great to watch.
I love that. Thank you. No, it's been an amazing journey. That's for sure.
Amazing. Is there like, what's next for you? We'll just leave it at that.
Strategy, hire retainers, and then building my personal brand offer, growing my personal brand, and then scaling from there probably.
Amazing. Sounds good. Okay. Well, thank you, Leia, so much. We'll keep cooking and keep having a career off content. So
amazing.
Awesome.
Looking forward to it.
I'll talk to you later. Bye.